We're going to move on to our axle support post now. So this is the post in question. This is what supports the back axle to the body. Okay, so you get these two parts as part of the supports. It's that one and there's that. Don't look at that botch repair at the moment. What I thought I'd do first, I would offer this onto the top of the post there, so that sits nicely on there if you can see it, and that butts up to the inner seal. So I'm thinking of doing is popping that on there. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to jack the car up. Okay, so that's sitting nicely there now on the underside. That's sitting square. So what I'm thinking of doing at this stage is put a few tacks around that reinforcing plate, get it all tacked up so it all stays there. Then I'll drop it back down again and then the plate will stay there. And then I'll offer this next piece up, another reinforcing bit which sits welds on this lip. It'll all be clearer once I make a start. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to mark this round. Round, clean it up, ready for welding. The plate wasn't quite sitting flat on the underside of the car, so I've drilled some holes and I've got this plate sitting flat with the metalwork now. And also I've got this weld through primer which I've never really got on with very well. I mean, it looks alright, the weld in there, but I don't know, to me I'm not that happy with. So I've taken the wire brush to it and I've got it back to shiny metal there on the joint. So I'm going to put a seam along there, I think, and then I'll take these screws out and I can plug weld the holes. And then I'm going to drop the jack and hopefully everything should still be lined up correctly. So that's all still in place at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and weld some of this some more up. I'm really happy with the welding now, the way it's turned out after I polished up that metal. So that stuff's useless really. I don't know. It's just probably good for doing the back of it. Maybe I thought you could just weld straight through it, but obviously made such a difference to me. I don't know if you can see. So on this line here, I've actually gone over it twice because it's actually quite thick metal, that support metal. And here I've had to go over it a few times. I didn't realise I was sort of just laying it on top. I didn't need to get on the side of it really. So there's been a few lines going up there as well. I'll probably grind most of it flat if I have to. I've plug welded the 3 screw holes. So I've got that done and I've got a few tacks at that end. So what I'm going to try and do now actually, I might drop the jack now and hopefully this will fall out. This will lower nicely down and I can carry on and weld the rest of that plate in position then, finish that seam welded round. Let's drop the jack and see what happens. Okay, it's going down. Okay, so it's come out. It's biting on it a little bit, but that's such a tight fit where that goes up into the hole. I might need to just open it up fractionally. Just take it back up. Yeah, it's a very tight fit. I mean, it goes back up, no problem. Just lower it down again. Okay, so that's it down. I'm happy with that. And attempt to weld up the rest of that. I'll get it with the wire brush first on the drill. Get it back to shiny metal. Hopefully I can get that all seam welded up and I'll come back when that's all done. As you can see, I've welded it all up. There's loads of weld in there. That's not going anywhere now. That's the inside of it. Up inside the bottom. That's the post at the bottom. So there's the bottom side. Yeah, it's not pretty, but I had to put a little plate in there because the hole was oval to accommodate the fit because it wasn't quite right. But it's all weld. There's so much weld in there now. I'm happy with that. I don't think that's going to go anywhere, to be honest with you. So I think the next step is I'm going to try and offer it back in the car. I hope it fits. I've got no choice. It's got to fit now. And so much weld in there. That's not going to be dug out again as I have to buy a new panel. So I'm going to go ahead, offer that in, and we'll see how it looks. It's jacked up in position now. I'm really happy. Everything's lined up. It's really good. Can't see it, but it's actually quite a tight fit, which isn't a bad thing, I suppose. I've got a good tight fit on the side there. I don't know if it will pick it up on the camera. And on the underside, it's quite good. I'm happy with that. And on the inside, That's the post coming through. So once it's all welded on the underside, I can come back inside the car and I can weld round that inner ring. I don't think I'm gonna bother that. That was just mastic a body seal around that part. So I'll probably just do that on that. I don't know yet. I'll see. I might just weld the whole thing together. I don't think I'll be taking it apart again in my lifetime. So I might let somebody else worry about it. So I'll probably just might weld the whole thing together just for added strength. It's really good. I'm happy with that. I'm going to drop it down now. And I'm going to paint the inside of it. I'm just going to give it a coat. I'll show you what I'm going to use. So I'm going to paint the inside of it. And I'm going to put it back up and weld it. So it's ready now for painting on the inside. It's going to give the inside a coat of paint up to that point. I think obviously I won't paint the shiny bit because I want the top bits that's inside the car that needs to be welded. So ideally what I'd like to use is this stuff. We have a debate about using whether this or this. This stuff's meant to be really good because you actually paint it to the underside of rusty ships. So that's proven stuff, this one is. The only problem I found with this is with my time, because it's a 2-part mix. Here's another, that's the bit in the back there, that's the other part of it. So it's a 2-part mix ratio. Then you need to let it stand. Then you get like a 4-hour or 2-hour working time. I'm not sure 100%, but that's really good, that stuff. But I just don't have time for the mixing and the waiting. You've got to let it stand for like 40 minutes or something for it to activate. It's meant to be really good, but if I had more time, maybe when I'm doing bigger areas, I've got more time, I can mix up a bigger batch of it. But I think for that, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to use this. So it's the first time I'm using this, but people say it's really good. This was just a starter kit, Paul 15. You know what it is. Cup of tea. So I suppose you go through the greaser, cleaner degreaser. I mean, most people just toss that on really. I mean, it's only a starter kit. I thought I'd just get this. So I'll quickly go through the stages. So I'm just going to metal degrease, it says. Metal prep and then top coat. Give it a coat of that and then I'll refit it back to the inside of the car. So it's had a coat with a Pour 15 and it looks really good actually. It's got a good hard finish on it. I've cocked up a bit there because I realised after I painted it that I did actually miss quite a bit of the weld actually, so I've actually just, you can see it, that's, so happy with that. That's the underside of it. I'll have to give that another treat, that again, that top bit. So that's ready for fitting now. I'm going to clean up the edges. I mean, it's slightly scuffed there. I did hit that with the drill there and the wire brush, and it's sort of, it's quite hard wearing. It's quite solid stuff, this. It's really brittle. I noticed where it's in a plastic pot, it just sort of came out in one piece. That's the brush I used. It's absolutely solid. That's how it came out of the pot. Absolutely rigid, that is. So it's a good hard finish. So I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean up the edges. I'm going to wire wool them, wire brush them back to shiny metal. Then we'll get it back inside the car, jack it all back in position, and we'll get on with the welding. So the piece has had liberal coating of Pour 15 on the back side of it. It's going to be that way around, obviously, as it sits back in the car. So what I went ahead and did, I gave it a liberal coating of rust converter. That's where it's gone all black actually, where the welds are. So that's all ready now, that's rust protected now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to refit this piece back on the arm. I'm going to mark a line round, get the wire brush, get back to shiny metal wherever it needs to, and then I'm going to get on and put some tacks on and start getting this suspension post back in position and done. Well, we've got the plate in position now. I've done some welding. I absolutely hate welding upside down. It's not pretty, but it's structural sound. Also, you get the flat grinder, the flat wheel on the grinder. You can shave the ugly bits off so it doesn't look too bad. And to be honest, once it's all painted and everything's back together, you won't really notice it. The problem I have got though, I know the post is in the correct position where it comes through in the floor pan, so that's correct. So that's not sitting too low, but the issue I've got is, I don't know if you can see it in the picture, this should be touching the underside of the floor as well as this bit. This is obviously down on the angle, so something's not right there. It may be well replace this bit, that I've obviously got the angle wrong, but it would have been one or the other really. If I put this side flat up on the underside, then that smaller piece would have been at an angle which wouldn't have been right, because obviously then this wouldn't have sat square in the base. So I don't know, I've looked at the other side and this is all pretty much touching up together, all this, but then if I seal all this up tight, will it become a water trap in there again? Will it all rust out? I'm wondering if I can get away of just putting a plate just from the time, and leave this back side open. I don't know, would that be sufficient? I might do that actually. I might leave this back side open, just put a piece coming down for strength. I'm going to go ahead and try and make a piece of metal up now then. So all I did to fill that gap, I found this piece of seal section I'd left over. I cut a little piece out of there. I cut a little template, and there it is. I was going to sit it on the outside and have it sticking out and up, but then it actually fitted better if I wedged it inside. So it's wedged up tight on the inside of this. I just welded it in. I'm really happy with it actually, the way that's turned out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get the flat wheel in there if I can, take off the ugly edges off this, and then I'm going to give it a good coating of something. I'm really happy the way that turned out actually. I made 2 passes along that top part. Okay, so I've come back inside the car now. Can't actually see it, but the reason I came back in was to start welding around that post that's back inside now. But looking around, you can see quite a multitude of pinholes now, because I've got the big bright light under there. And for some reason, when I hit that with the wire brush, a bit of a patch appeared there, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. And there's some little holes. So what I want to do, I'm gonna just, well, I've got the MIG welder in here. I'm gonna go ahead and start plugging all these holes up. That tiny screw hole up there, that's where the seat was screwed down. There was a screw, obviously a screw going through there. Is that the correct way of doing it? I might just fill that actually and be done with it, I think. And the reason why that rust, I'm going to fill that, I think. I'm going to put a plate over that and just plate and weld it up, I think. Anything that stops water ingress is a bonus, I think, really. I'm sure there's a plug that goes over that, but then if water gets entrapped in there, it's going to rust through again. So I'm going to get the MIG welder in here. I might start, I've got to make a little tiny patch there. I don't think I can really fill that up with weld. It might just keep burning through. Might cut a little square out there, just put it over the top of that and weld it in, and probably might weld it from the bottom as well, and then just flap disc it all flat afterwards. So I'll go ahead and start doing that now. So all the pinholes are as good as all filled now. I'm quite happy with that actually. The bit that was, not sure where that is gone now actually. Must have been there. There was a piece, I've literally just filled it with weld actually. There was a big gaping hole for some reason, I don't know why. I'm going to give that a clean up and a spray with some zinc primer, weld through primer. But I found this, my original plate that I found. I'm going to cut this section out, I think. I'm going to pop it over that hole and weld it in place, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I've done all the pinholes are welded in. I want to get this bit sorted out, and then I'm going to finally finish off and weld the top of our post turret bit there, sticking through. And then that's good to go then. That should be, hopefully, most of the welding done. So I cut this piece out of the floor pan section of the pattern one for the repair. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop that in there. That fits quite nice in there. I'm going to weld that in there, I think. So once I get inside the car, I'm going to weld this up inside there. I want to weld that up and finish that. So we've welded up our little plate. That fills up the hole. I've gone on ahead and completely welded up that post now. That's completely done now. So I'm going to go to the underside now and just tidy that up underneath. Now I'm going to weld that up. And then that's pretty much done then. Our post is finished. Hooray! So I went ahead, welded up that plate. That is actually the plate there. I don't know if you can see how clearly it's going to come up. And I literally spent 5 minutes with the flat wheel. I've took the welds down. So I'm happy with that. Some of the bit there I've filled in. That's the post repair section. What I will. So that's it. This job is done. I'm happy this was a nightmare that I thought it would be. So that's done now. I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to come back to it. So what my next stage is going to be, attempt to come back in here now. And all this needs closing up now inside the wheel arch. So I need to make a plate up for there, and it covers the edge of the post repair. That will close everything in. Then I know this whole side's done. I'm going to go back underneath and start wire wheeling everything back, all the rust, all the flaky stuff off, and I want to start finishing this side of the car. I'll give it a coat of something inside, and I want to go underneath with the flat wheel or the wire brush. I'm going to clean it all off and then seal it all up, and it's done. Thanks for watching.